Be where your feet are. So often, we love to cast our mind to where we think we should be or where we want to be, and we so regularly forget to be where we are. And what gratitude gives us the ability to do, you have to be where you are. You be where your feet are and you go, I am here now. How can I activate and utilize gratitude as a tactical tool in this moment? That's where the change really begins to happen.
Welcome back to the Sparks of Gratitude podcast. I am your host, Randy Sparks. Thank you for joining us today. Gratitude saves and changes lives. And we have an amazing guest with us today, Mr. Kevin Clayson. Welcome to the conversation.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, we have a lot to talk about. And one of those things might be in case your microphone starts to slip. We'll keep our eyes on it.
Okay, all right. I'll keep a look.
Yeah, before we get started, I just want to thank everybody for joining us. You could be anywhere in the world doing anything with your time right now, and you've chosen to share it with us. So we hope we can return the favor and give you something of value, which I no doubt we're going to do. So Kevin messaged me the other day. We met each other a while ago. Kevin is the author of a book right in line with this called Flip the Gratitude Switch, which I've read, I've listened to, I've talked to many people about, and I've even given my copy of it to someone else. So Kevin brought me another one today. We will certainly talk about that. And I believe we'll have a mix of what are some of the hard things that we faced and how do we get through those?
Yeah,
so
that's for sure.
Where do we start, Kevin?
You know, I want to start with what you said at the top. You said gratitude, what did you say? Saves?
It changes and
saves.
Saves lives.
Okay, so there could not be a more true statement. Let me just start there. The one thing that has changed my life more than any other thing, other than I'm a believer, okay? I love God. I believe in the gospel of Jesus Christ. That's changed me more than anything. And I believe that gratitude is a fundamental piece of that. But gratitude has changed my life more than any other thing that I could directly point to. I mean, I am talking complete reversal of self. Like the best possible 180. Let me just give you an example of who I was, okay? I used to be the least thankful person on the planet. All right, I grew up in California, grew up in the San Francisco Bay Area, okay? I was not raised in a home that was just overflowing with gratitude, okay? I was raised in a home, which is like a lot of American homes, which is like, we love to complain about things, and we love to talk about all the things that are going wrong, and we don't ever really fully acknowledge all of the things that are great, right? My dad is an amazing human, but he was from job to job to job. My mom worked in the school. She worked at an elementary school, and it's just, if anybody out there works at an elementary school, my wife does now, it is just cuckoo bananas all the time, right? And so there just wasn't, my grandma, love her. I only knew two of my grandparents. My grandma, Nana, I love you, but she was like, she was the epitome of negative Nelly. Her name was Nelly, okay? She was like, that was just who she was. So this was the environment that I was raised in. And I didn't even know gratitude was like a thing, okay? And I got to a point in my career where we own a real estate company, and we had grown this real estate company. I was traveling all over the country. I was speaking everywhere, and I was unhappy with where we were at. And we had hired a guy at the time that was kind of running our sales teams. And I don't know what it was, Randy. He and I would just like this. Like, there's not that many people. Probably maybe half of your listeners are like, I can get it. I don't like you either. But there's not that many people that just I fundamentally don't get along with. This guy we would have shouting matches. That was so uncharacteristic for me. And this one day I was just done, fed up, had no idea what to do with my life. I hated everything. And I was sitting in my car and I was completely drained. And I just had this thought of like, I just want to go away. Like, it wasn't a suicidal thought. It was just like, I just don't wanna. You know, that's the best way I just don't wanna. And it was in that moment that everything changed, because God spoke one word to me, and it was the word I least expected. And he gave me the word gratitude. And I was like, what? I mean, it was like, do you like Forrest Gump?
Yeah.
All right. You remember when Lieutenant Dan is like on the boat and he's like shaking his fist at the heavens? That was how I felt. I was like, gratitude? What do you mean? Right? I was like, how? I could not, with any amount of clarity, see anything that in that moment I could be thankful for, which is nuts because I had a wife and I had kids and I had a house and I had a company and I had a car, but none of it really mattered to me because I wasn't happy. At least I didn't think I was. And that began a journey that changed everything for me. And it was the acceptance that if God would give me that word in that moment, there must be something to it. And it is now incumbent upon me to figure it the heck out. And that's exactly what the last 15 years of my life have been now. And I'll tell you, I'm a fundamentally different person. When I was dating my wife, okay, she knows me. She knew the old me and she knows the now me. Just to give you an example, I was dating her. We had jazz season tickets, Utah Jazz season tickets. We were driving to the game and some guy cut me off somewhere in Salt Lake. And I got out of my car. I walked up to his car. I pounded on his window. I'm sure I gave some very colorful language, and I was so seething angry at this dude who I didn't know who just cut me off. And I remember back then girl that I was dating, I can't believe she went on to like say yes to me and then marry me. Now I've been married 18 years. But when she looked at me when I got back in the car, she was like, "Who are you?" And that's exactly who I was. Life is so different now. I'm not that at all. And there's only one reason. It's because gratitude has quite literally rewired my brain and has fundamentally changed every cell in my body. I'm not kidding. And that is when you say gratitude saves and changes, buddy. I don't know if there is a better example on planet Earth that could testify to that statement than this other bald dude sitting right here across from you.
Best haircut in the business.
Yeah, buddy.
My goodness, do we just like say peace out and we're done?
And that's a wrap. Yeah, no.
Because there's so much underneath all of that.
There is.
Because there's the moment where you're like, I just don't wanna.
Yep.
Right? I mean, somebody listening. So there's I'm going to quote somebody that was on my podcast recently, and this may resonate with some of you guys. It resonates with me. But his name was Jim Hewling, and he said, the greatest response to a truth well spoken is a chorus of me too.
Yeah.
Who else has felt those moments when you're just like, I just don't wanna.
Yeah.
Like nothing seems to be going right.
Yep.
How often have I felt it just doesn't look like how it was supposed to? I don't feel the way I was supposed to feel.
Yeah.
And so I feel like you in that gratitude is the key to unlock that.
Yes.
Because do you know what it looks like? Exactly that.
That's 100%.
That's what it looks like.
Yeah.
That is the moment, whatever moment you're in is the moment you're in.
Yeah.
Right?
One of my favorite quarterbacks, so I love football. You love tennis. I love football. I love basketball. And I'm a big 49er fan. And I've been a 49er fan since I was little because that was the team that I grew up watching. But Brock Purdy is the current quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers. So if you know his story, last pick in the draft, nobody expected anything from him. Third string quarterback, gets his opportunity. He's now the starting quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers, has led him to 2 NFC championships, led him to a Super Bowl. They haven't won one yet. The dude was making the lowest amount of money on the entire team, just barely got a $53 million contract. He is a believing person as well. And I was listening to a podcast. He was on this like faith and football type podcast. And he said something I'd heard him say before, but it just resonated differently. Maybe it was because, God was in the equation. But he had a quarterback's coach tell him, and he absolutely believes this. And I think this is in alignment with what you just said. Be where your feet are. And so often we love to cast our mind to where we think we should be or where we want to be, and we so regularly forget to be where we are. And what gratitude gives us the ability to do is unlock the power of the where you are, especially if you can find a way to activate gratitude. In the book, I say, Gratitude is a verb, not a noun, right? It's something you do, not just something that you feel and sort of passively experience. It's something that you quite literally activate. It's a tactical tool that creates tremendous potential in your life. But you have to be where you are. You be where your feet are and you go, I am here now. How do I create how can I activate and utilize gratitude as a tactical tool in this moment? That's where the change really begins to happen. To give you an example, so gratitude saves and changes. And I used to go and speak every month at a rehab and recovery center. They would buy a bunch of books, they'd give them, and it was like a nice house in Alpine, but I think they could leave if they wanted to. So I don't know if is that a halfway house? Is that what that is? I don't know. But one day I was there and I'd always go speak on gratitude because some of the physicians and therapists and whatnot that were there helping these folks knew the power of gratitude. And we have a common friend, Paul Jenkins, and Dr. Paul. He has me speak for his group all of the time because of the power of gratitude and how we can put a formula to it that makes it something tangible that we can do. And so it was the same thing with this rehab and recovery center. So they'd buy books, they'd give to the residents, they'd bring me in and I'd speak every month. And this one month I went, and before I walked in, one of the doctors pulled me aside and he said, "Hey, just so you know, the room was usually pretty small, like 30 people, right? Just kind of in a, in a loop around the room, and I would just kind of stand in the middle." He said, "Just so you know, there's going to be a guy in there today. He just came in last night. All right. He was strung out. He was going through some stuff. They just brought him in. He is effectively detoxing. I don't know what you're going to get from him. He could yell at you. He could be totally unruly. I hope he'll be okay." So I go and I speak, and he's making little comments under his breath, this guy. And, it wasn't too bad. We get done speaking. We do the serenity prayer all together, which was always such a cool experience to be there and to hear that. And I leave. I don't think anything else about it. I go back like 2 months later. I don't know what happened the month in between because I used to go every month, but it was like 2 months later. And sometimes when I'd get done speaking, the residents would bring up the copy of the book and they'd want me to sign it. And a couple months later, it wouldn't happen all the time, just every now and then, there's a little lineup, and the guy at the end of the line comes up and he holds out his book. And he says, "Kevin, will you sign this?" I was like, "Yeah, man, of course. Tell me your name." Tells me his name, and he goes, "You don't remember me, do you?" And I'm like, uh-oh, because that happens sometimes, right? In professional lives and business, like we meet people, we have meaningful interactions, and we love them in that moment, but sometimes we meet a lot of people. So he goes, "You don't remember me, do you?" And I'm like, "Oh, no." And he goes, 2 months ago, I was the guy sitting right there, detoxing. And he went on to tell me that not me, not the book, the ideas of gratitude had fundamentally changed this man's life and saved it. So when you say that gratitude saves and changes, or changes and saves, buddy, I'm one example. You may be another. And this young man will forever stand as a beacon to me of that. I have other stories like that from other people that have interacted with me as a result of, what we put in the book. And I just want, if you are listening, oh my goodness, my friends, it's a good thing you're listening to the Sparks of Gratitude podcast, but let me tell you something. What Randy said, I cannot express seriously enough that this gratitude thing will forever fundamentally alter, change, and save you. And I could not have a stronger testimonial for that. It's so true, Randy, and you know it. That's why we're here. But I just want to impress upon everybody the seriousness, the importance, the value, the power that is available to you. And what's so cool about gratitude, man, all of this is available to us. And it's not like we need some sort of massive gratitude kit. All we need is this. We need this brain, the real estate between our temples and our thought patterns and our ability to actually get uncomfortable and do something that may not feel natural, and doggone it if it doesn't change everything for us. That's one of the things that I love about gratitude, is that it is available to you 100% of the time, all of the time, no matter what pit of hell and despair you may be in. It is available to you. There is an eternal divine power that is available to us with this idea of gratitude. And I just love it. It's everything, man. It really is.
Preach. Okay, so now let's get into it, because you don't have to convince me of that. I know that that's the truth. But even though I know it, I fundamentally know it, I feel it, I'm not always acting with it.
Yeah, I mean,
right?
me either. Yeah.
And so, but how do we do it? You are in that moment. You're Lieutenant Dan shaking your fist at God, or there's this guy in the back of the room at this halfway house, feeling whatever he's feeling, or these other people, or whoever's listening is feeling something, and they say, wait, what? Like, how can I be grateful for this? How can I be grateful for this horrible thing? My wife just served me divorce papers, or like, when I'm in that hell, talk to me about that. How do we dip into this gratitude?
Yeah, that's the question. And what's interesting is, when I was in that moment sitting in my car and that word came to me, the process became, how do I figure out that? Okay, God, gratitude, fine. Thanks, I guess, but I don't know how to, okay? And so I went where everybody goes, and you go try to find books that maybe can explain it. And what was insane is, I started to read and engage all this gratitude-based content that I could find, but all of it was like, gratitude's awesome, attitude of gratitude, you should gratitude walk in a gratitude jar and a gratitude journal. And I was like, I've tried all that and it hasn't worked for me, okay? I mean, I can't tell you how many times I tried to gratitude journal, and it was like, when you feel like there's nothing to be thankful for, what are you supposed to gratitude journal about? And it was this challenge, and I kept trying to find the pathway, and I couldn't find it. But then in this another moment in time that will forever be solidified in my brain, is this game-changing moment. I got this prompting to look in a journal that I'd been keeping, and it was a journal. So I used to go to I love going to events and just learning from people that are smarter than me, which is why I love being here, because I can learn from you. And I used to go to this guy, kind of a speaking coach type of dude. And he'd brought in Darren Hardy, who, wrote The Compound Effect. And Darren was giving a keynote on The Compound Effect. And it was great. I remember really liking it. And but I remember that I'd written something in my journal that he'd remarked on, or said in passing, or it was just one of those things. But for me, there was kind of like this moment of inspiration that told me, Kevin, that's for you. And I'd written it down, but I forgot what it was. But I just had this memory of like, oh, I should go look at that journal. Darren Hardy said something. So I found the journal. I flipped to the page, and there it was. I'd start it. Whenever I'm taking notes at an event, I always star the stuff that I know, like, God has whispered to my brain that I need to remember and act on. And there it was, starred, top left of the page. And I had written down the thing that Darren Hardy had said. And he talked about a journal, but he talked about not just keeping like a gratitude journal. He talked about keeping a frustration journal, and then trying to find a way to be thankful for the frustration. And that was like a revolutionary thought to me. And when I read that, I was like, oh, maybe that's what I can start to do. So what I started to do is I started to go, okay, the second that I feel cognitive dissonance, the second that I feel some of that anxiety, or that thing that had lived with me for so long, that dissatisfaction, as soon as I felt that, I would go, okay, there you are. I feel you. What are you? Okay, that's what you are. Now, how do I be thankful for you? And when I would do that, Randy, what would happen is, all of a sudden, as soon as I would isolate the thing, choose to be thankful for something embedded in the thing that was just a second ago really frustrating and difficult, it was like I was flipping this internal switch, and it was like I started to call it flipping the gratitude switch. Like, that was just a thing I started to say because that's what it felt like. I was like flipping this gratitude switch, and everything started to shift. Perspective changed. In the book, I talk about it in terms of like an analogy of like if you went into this like dark room, like a banquet hall or something, and it was all set up for an event, and you're supposed to navigate from one side of the room to the other side of the room, but you have no idea how the event is set up. It's totally dark, and you're supposed to cross, right? The likelihood of you bumping your leg or knee or toe on a chair or a table or whatever, it would be relatively high. But when you flip a switch and the lights come on, the layout of the room changes not at all, but your ability to navigate it does. And that was what gratitude felt like. It felt like I was illuminating whatever was before me, and I could now navigate it successfully. And that is a process I started to call flip the gratitude switch, and we later turned into a formula in the book, and the formula goes along with flip. It's find the frustration is the F. So you find and isolate the frustration. You look for what's awesome, specifically that's the L. Look for what's awesome embedded in the frustration. In the book, I say initiate gratitude because I wasn't smart enough to think of a better word. But now as I speak about it, I say install gratitude. And the reason why I say install gratitude is I think of it like our devices, like our apps. When we want to download something, an app or whatever on our phone, like it's a non-tangible, but we know where to go find it, and then we can download it and it becomes tangible. Gratitude is the same thing. So we install gratitude through language by saying that we're thankful for the thing that's awesome embedded in the frustration, and that's the I. So I say I. If I ever do a rewrite on the book, I'll change initiate to install. And then P is power up with Gratifuel. And all that is the body's literal process of reacting to you installing gratitude based on what was awesome embedded in the frustration. And your body releases serotonin and dopamine, and you feel awesome, and you can move forward until the next frustration. And then once again, you find and isolate that frustration. What is it? Look for what's awesome embedded in it. Install gratitude. I'm thankful for the thing that is awesome embedded in the frustration. Your body does what it's designed to do, and you continue to move forward. And so that's the short answer. Brevity is not my strong suit. That's the quick explanation of what's in the book. But as far as some specifics, I can drill into those and give you some real specifics that have happened in my life where I really had to take that formula and go, okay, now what?
Well, and put your money where your mouth is, because you realize this. What I like that you're so good about is, one, coming up with this flip formula of saying, all right, well, I can take myself through those steps.
Yeah.
And I can remember those, and I can say, oh, well, I know the drill. Here's my formula.
Yep.
Let me go through these steps. And other people have come up with different steps for all sorts of different
Sure.
things. And we have that. What's beautiful about this is I don't think any of this stuff is revolutionary. It's just truth.
Yeah, that's it.
Right. And what I love is that I can hear you teach it with this language, and then to me it clicks.
Yeah.
Or I might have had somebody else teach me the same type of messaging and process in a different format, and it didn't click yet.
Yeah.
I wasn't ready yet.
Yes.
And,
very true.
or that's not the language that like my soul understands at this point in time. So I love the different versions of how these processes are taught. I'm really passionate about the idea of this, the find the frustration.
Yeah.
I've heard that in many different ways. What I look at it, I just interviewed a lady. I just published her podcast recently. Her name's Hrund Gunstinsdottir.
Whoa.
If I said that right.
That's awesome.
She's from Iceland, and she wrote a book called Insight, which is the Icelandic word for intuition.
Nice.
And it's a really rich word, like aloha, right?
Oh, cool.
And she talks about essentially a threefold meaning of that, but it literally means two parts: the sea within. And so the first meaning of insight, intuition, is the sea within me, like flowing and
sure,
and just the capacity and energy that's in that flow within me.
Yeah.
And the second definition is to see within, and this is your F.
Yeah.
This is find the frustration.
Yeah.
It's the awareness. So what am I finding? Like my individual awareness is what's allowing me to see the see within.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
It's
then
great.
and then your follow-up. So she describes the third phase of insight intuition is then to see from the inside out.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
So there's all these different languages.
Yeah.
Or when I study just awareness or emotional intelligence,
Mm-hmm.
first, it's so crucial that you are able to notice. I had a photographer on the podcast sitting in that chair named Justin Hackworth, and he says, I think gratitude means to notice, pay attention, and be deliberate.
Mm-hmm.
It's like taking a photograph. You need to notice, pay attention,
Yeah.
and be deliberate
For sure.
about the picture you're taking.
Yeah.
It's like noticing is that awareness. How often have you felt something? Have you felt an emotion, something triggering that makes you want to get out of your car
Yeah.
and slam on some guy's window, right?
Yeah.
That where all of this is bubbling up
Yes.
inside you. But what if we could, instead of reacting to that, we could respond to it?
Mm-hmm.
And this is that emotional intelligence and awareness to say, oh, I see you there, emotion. I am feeling you, Mr. Emotion.
Yep.
But now I can be deliberate about this.
Yeah, that's right.
Instead of, you are driving me.
Yeah.
Right. And so
100%. Yeah, it's a cognitive process. And what's so great about that is, if your listeners know because they listen to this podcast, but I would wager that the vast majority of Americans do not understand. Maybe they've heard at some point that they can control the see within to a certain extent, but most don't realize that. They let emotion, frustration, life wash over them, and they become, I mean, we hear this all the time too, right? They sort of develop kind of a victim mentality. Things are happening to me. I'm not happening to them, right? And I feel like that is a thing that a lot of Americans do. And what's so weird is we also do this thing where we have a tendency to just kind of like commiserate together. And I think that that's because we're fundamentally empathetic people.
Well, it feels good.
Yeah.
It feels good to be validated, to bring people into my corner, to support, like, oh, I am hurt, or this thing's happened to me, or my job sucks. And
and so that's, we do that. But the problem with that is then
we enable victimhood.
Because everybody's complaining. And it's like we one up each other. Oh, you think that's bad? Well, wait till you hear this. Yeah. And then when we do that, we're sort of training the mind to live in that place of, like, because we understand that our brain will search out the things that we suggest for it to search out, right? It's the same process. And, this is another cognitive process that happens. You ever been shopping for a car? And then as soon as you're shopping for that car, you start to see it everywhere.
Everywhere.
Right? All we've done is we've just tuned the radio station of our brain into that particular vehicle. And the same thing happens with complaining or commiserating or misery. When we are tuning our brain to finding the things that are, with each other that are terrible, and like we're just going to feel like, oh my gosh, there's so much bad. When we tune our brain to gratitude, we will find ways to be thankful. That's what you are such a great example of. That's what this podcast, your listeners, are a great example of, because you're hearing the word gratitude over and over and over again. And so you're going to be conscious, cognitive, aware. And as a result, you find more of it in your life. And so I think that the finding the frustration is, for me, nothing more than an enabling power that I'm giving myself the ability to pause and to simply ask a question. And this is the key. The key to this cognitive process is to ask. So when I'm in that place of frustration, anxiety, fear, whatever it is, if I've given my brain the training and I understand that I can do something about it, the way that I do it is I ask a question. And what's interesting, when we ask our brain a question, we'll typically answer. So what we talk about in the book and the way that we phrase it when we go and speak is, when you feel the frustration, you pause and you simply ask the following question: what am I frustrated about? Just that little moment in time, Randy, is an unlocking power. We go, oh, wait, all of a sudden we're becoming cognizant, conscious to it. We're like, oh, okay, well, what am I frustrated about? Well, I'm frustrated that this thing just happened. That guy cut me off. Okay, cool. I see ya. We're not saying don't get frustrated, right? That's one thing that we're not saying. We're not saying you just have to be positive all the time and you can never have a negative emotion or feeling, because that's unrealistic. All we're saying is when it comes, just pause. I like to think of it as a brain train. And our brain's chugging along this track. And if the track that we've given it is find negative things and look for things to complain about, then we will see all of the negative things and all the things to complain about. When we ask the question, what am I frustrated about? All we've done is we've put on the brake of the train. We're slowing the train so that we can switch the track in our brain and give it a new path and a new suggestion, which is look for what's awesome. I got to tell you, so I've done this experiment like I don't know how many hundreds of times, okay? Every time we go speak about this, youth, school, corporate, adults, church, I always do the same thing. When I get into the principles, I always tell the story about stubbing my toe, okay? Because I used to stub my toe all the time on my bed, and I hated it, and I'd get so dang angry when I'd stub my toe, and I'd become an anger monster, and it would, like, give me this really bad day. I'd stub my toe, and I'd be angry, and I'd just go through my day, and the reason I use stubbing toe is, like, it's pretty inconsequential, but we all know what that's like.
And we can all say it's the worst thing that could happen,
It's
too.
the worst
We
thing.
know it's not, but we also know it is.
You're like, and so I'll tell the story and I'll talk about how I stubbed my toe and how I'd get angry and I go through this whole thing. And I usually do it to kind of make the audience laugh a little bit. And I'll teach them I'll begin to flip the gratitude switch stuff. And then I'll say, let me ask you a question. I'm frustrated that I stubbed my toe. Can we all agree that's the frustration? And then I say, okay, audience, let me ask you this. What could possibly be awesome about stubbing your toe? Without fail, this is the experience every single time. It's dead silent, okay? For like 5 seconds. And I just let it hang. And then I'll get one hand. You have a toe. Yep, I do have a toe. Quickly thereafter, you have a foot. Yeah, I have a foot. You have legs. Yeah, you have legs. Oh, you have a bed. And I kid you not, what happens is I watch the brain train in real time, slow and switch tracks. And as soon as we feed the audience the suggestion of what could possibly be awesome about stubbing your toe, at first they're like, I don't know. The train is slowing. And then the track switches. And then just like a train, it starts to chug along. Response. And then we're getting all of these responses and all these hands are going up. And then I always point it out to him and I say, guess what? We just did a brain experiment. Y'all didn't even realize it, but we just did that. And it is so true. All of a sudden now we're all thinking about the things that could be awesome. At first it's hard. But then if we can do that in the daily process, in the frustration, when we get cut off on the freeway, when we stub our toe, for me, when my wife tells me, my ex-wife tells me she's in love with someone else and is going to leave me. When I publish the book and I think it's exactly what God wanted me to do, and we sell a few thousand copies the first week, and I think that my phone's going to be ringing, I'm going to be speaking on stages all over the country and doing paid gigs, and nothing happens. And within 2 to 3 months of publishing this book, investing every penny we had into publishing this book, within 3 months, I'm getting a part-time job at the Container Store to just put food on the table. And every day waking up and flipping the gratitude switch that I'm thankful. As an entrepreneur, I was taught not to trade time for money. That's what I'd done. But I left my company, I published the book, and now I have nothing. And so to be able to trade time for money, to be able to scrub toilets, I would be thankful to scrub the toilet because it meant that every single stroke of that brush I was earning for my family. And to go through even what we went through, I published the book, I get a job at the Container Store a year after. I realize now, like, Heavenly Father had to teach me the principles of Flip the Gratitude Switch, and then he took it all away to be like, do you believe it? And so I'm working for $13 an hour at the Container Store part-time just to put food on the table, homes in foreclosure, cars getting repossessed, all of the things that I spoke against as I was traveling around talking about real estate. And there I was. And about a year later, I come back to my company. We buy out a partner. We rebuild the company from scratch. We have our most profitable years in history until this last year. And this last year, the real estate market comes to a screeching halt. And over this last year, we've had to lay people off. We've missed payroll 3 times. And I've had to go through the process again. Like, okay, what's here? Every time that frustration comes, what could I be thankful for? What is awesome? I can be thankful for that. And then the fueling out and now back on a trajectory of unbelievable potential and growth and joy. But it has happened so many times, Randy, and I don't think it's going to cease to happen. But now I at least have a process that I can utilize that works for me in a language and a lexicon that resonates with hopefully somebody out there like it does for me, that I can navigate. I can flip the switch. The room does not change, but my ability to navigate it does quite significantly.
So I've got a question about that, because you've just described 2 very major difficult things and a lot of other ones mixed in them. But yeah, creating the book, one, raising your fist to God. He tells you got to have gratitude. You write the book, you get all motivated, then lose it all, and then
All God.
and then have to test yourself, right?
Yeah.
And then it's happening again in the last year. So sometimes this is how I feel when I'm going through that hard thing. What I want to say is, be grateful for it.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I want to say.
Sure, yeah.
But do you know what? I don't feel that.
No, it's hard.
And I don't feel grateful for it in the moment. I am grateful for my stubbed toe.
Yes.
That's not what, like, and well, then let's just compound that stubbed toe by 1,000,000.
Yeah.
Because that's what people go through.
Sure, 100%.
So I bet you've learned so much going through those things, and you might trade those lessons, or maybe you wouldn't trade those lessons, but to not have gone through those hard parts.
Yeah, sure.
Right?
Yeah.
You know, so there's that question. But we have those lessons. We have those experiences. What I believe is that I can transform that experience with this process.
I agree completely.
That's what it is, because the process is what it is.
Yeah.
That's the alchemy. That's the secret sauce. Is I'm in the experience now. I get to choose how I respond to that given set of circumstances. Right.
That's exactly right. Yep. 100%.
So, you said that we as humans often tend to have, why is this happening to me?
Yeah.
But it's not.
No.
It's happening for
us. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's the choice to say, this hurts.
Mm-hmm.
Am I going to choose to accept that this is for me?
Yeah.
That's a hard thing to choose.
It is.
Right? It's easy for me to say this and proclaim gratitude's the best.
Yeah.
But when it comes down to it, the pain is not gone.
No.
But the choice is, how am I going to transform that pain into progress?
Yeah. And here's the thing is, we also, I think as humans, tend to desire comfort.
Really?
Yeah, do you believe that? Is that a shocking revelation? And there is no growth in comfort. There's growth in discomfort. I talk about it sometimes like this. If I want to build muscle and I go lift 3-pound weights exclusively, just do a handful of reps, I could easily tell myself, bro, you went to the gym every day for a year and you barely built any muscle. If I walk in, I do 2 minutes on the treadmill at 2 miles an hour, and I do 5 reps with 3-pound weights, and I do that every single day, I'll tell myself, we love to trick ourselves into saying we're doing all of the things. Why am I not seeing different results? I'm doing all the things I think I'm supposed to do. But we're not uncomfortable. Maybe there's some discomfort in getting up and going to the gym, but we're not making our bodies uncomfortable when we're there. We're not doing the hard work. We're doing the easy work. You can't have growth with the easy work. You have to have growth with the difficult work. And so when we're thankful for things that are awesome already, right? Everything's going brilliantly, perfectly, super easy to be thankful. You should be thankful, but it's light work. The hard work where you tear the muscle and it builds, is when you can find, activate, and utilize gratitude for those moments, for the moments where it sucks, where it hurts, where you want to wave your fist at the sky, where you're crying and you're praying out of desperation because you don't know what to do next. It's in those moments that if you can find a way to activate gratitude there, that's the hard work. That's the transformative work. And I'll tell you what, for you guys and gals listening, the flip the gratitude switch formula, the flip formula, it 100% works. It's a great way to isolate things as they happen and to go through this process. But I will tell you from personal experience, even knowing that, there will be times when you are so dark, when things feel so bleak, that it feels like there are so many things stacked against you that it may even be difficult to isolate one thing to be able to find the frustration with and look for what's awesome. And so, can I share what I do in those moments?
Please.
So it's just a little well, there's two things. One is meditative, one is prayerful. The prayerful one is simply I kneel and I only utter a prayer of gratitude. Now, what this requires is typically the way I pray is I express gratitude and then I ask for guidance for things that I want. This eliminates that step and only says thank you for things. And it means you gotta come up with a list in your brain. Okay, I'm thanks God for the breath in my lungs because I just breathed. Thanks God for okay, I'm kneeling. Thank you God for the floor that's intact. Thank you God for my fingers are interlaced for my fingers. I can eat nachos. You just kind of go and you say a prayer of gratitude. The meditative experience is very similar to that, but it's like Brock Purdy standing, it's being where your feet are, but the meditative process for somebody that's maybe not comfortable with praying is this. You sit right where you are, and if anybody's ever done any sort of meditation, usually you'll get quiet, you'll try to clear your brain, you'll listen to the sounds of the room or whatever it might be, so you can kind of clear the brain, and then you just, you want to have like no thoughts, right? That's really kind of what meditation is. But what it also means is you have to become sort of very present, right? That's how a lot of meditations begin, is like feel your body, feel the weight of your body on the chair, feel the weight of your arms, resting on the chair or on your legs or whatever. So you're becoming sort of very present. The meditative gratitude exercise is similar in that you become present, but instead of just sort of noticing that you're feeling the weight of your body in the chair, you become thankful for the weight of your body. You become thankful for the chair that you feel below. You become thankful, and then what happens is that meditation starts to expand. So you start as small as you can, right inside, with this body that you can feel, and then you begin to grow out. You be thankful for this chair. You be thankful for this carpet. This looks like beautiful new carpet. So what I would probably be thankful for is this carpet. And I know for me, carpet in my home is a place where I wrestle with my kids. So I'm thankful for the carpet, and then I have the memory of my children, and I'm thankful for them. My circle's growing, right? Wouldn't have my kids if it wasn't for my wife. I'm thankful for my wife. This family, this house, this carpet, this chair, this body of mine is in this house. I'm thankful for this home. And even if I feel like I'm about to slip into foreclosure, I'm in it right now. Right now, this second, I'm okay. Right now, right this moment, I'm where my feet are, I'm okay. I could be thankful for that. And then it just grows. You begin to be thankful outside. Maybe it's the neighborhood, it's the yard, it's the neighbor, it's the church group that you're a part of. It's maybe it grows to your place of employment. It's the people there. It's the ability to earn an income, even if it's not the income that you want. It's the ability to earn the income. Maybe it extends beyond, and it's America, and you're thankful for the freedoms that you enjoy regardless of what your personal political opinion may be. I'll tell you what, you have more freedoms than the vast majority of the world. You live in better conditions than the vast majority of the world. Maybe you can think about that. maybe it grows beyond that and you're thankful for this world. For me, it then grows and it connects to God and the entire creation of me in this life. And so it starts here and it pulses out little by little. When you do that, whether that be in prayer or in that meditative experience, it puts your mind and your body and your soul and your spirit in an entirely different state. And that state will then facilitate your ability to see clearly the thing that is frustrating you, and then you can use the formula. And now you're already in that gratitude state, and everything else begins to shift. And you know, I'm sure you've talked about it on this podcast, and maybe I've missed the episode, but just from a brain, you know, neurological, you know, neuroscience standpoint, that anxiety, that fear, that difficulty, the frustration, that is our body releasing cortisol. And the cortisol sometimes feels like this raging inferno inside. But what gratitude does, and maybe you all felt it, I felt it just as we were doing the exercise. Gratitude releases dopamine and serotonin. It douses the flame of cortisol, anxiety, fear. And in that place, your brain begins to rewire. You begin to become predisposed to gratitude, which is what happens over time. Another analogy in the book, I say, if you've ever been to a 3D movie and you've taken the glasses off, and you imagine watching the whole movie with the glasses off, you would know it's Marvel, and you know it's Thor and Captain America or whatever it is, or it's, you know, Tom Cruise and he's hanging onto an airplane, whatever it is, you would know it. But if you put those glasses on, the movie itself does not change, but your ability to perceive and enjoy it shifts entirely with those lenses. In the book, we call it lenses of limitation versus a set of gratitude glasses. What I've come to realize is when you practice that over and over and again, and you remove the lenses of limitation, you put on a pair of gratitude glasses, your brain starts to rewire. It's like LASIK for the soul. You can change the neurological pathways, the neural pathways in your brain. And when you exercise and use gratitude through these exercises, through the F.L.I.P formula, and it literally fundamentally changes you, which can save you, and it creates a different brain, which creates a different you. And now it's like rewiring your entire experience and existence to be predisposed to gratitude. Now, when the guy cuts me off on the freeway, it may still anger me, but it is brief, and I immediately go, who knows what's going on for him? I hope he's okay. I'm a changed person because of this process, because of the power of gratitude. It absolutely saves and changes.
Kevin Clayson, this has been amazing. Thank you so much. I want to express my gratitude to you for going through your hard things, because what that's done is that's brought you to this very moment right now where you can share that with me, with everybody listening to us right now. So this is special. This has been a long time coming. I'm so grateful we got to spend this time together.
I am so thankful to be here, and I can't believe it's over. I want to do this for like another 50 hours. Like, there is so much that we could dig into.
This is just round one.
Good. I want to say thank you to you for creating the space, the environment, the ability for everybody to connect and to hear the word gratitude so regularly. What a gift and a blessing you are, and this platform is to the world. And I am thankful for you as a human. I'm thankful for everybody listening and watching. And I'm just thankful that you've created this space for us to gather wherever we may be in order to experience these things together. That's the kind of stuff that changes the world bit by bit. It's awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Hey, flip the gratitude switch, everybody. Gratitude will change your life. I invite you to choose that. See you next time.